Hey, we are live, aren't we? Wow, let me make sure I got his turn right here. There we go. Hey, it's great to be here with you this week. Let's make sure we're rocking and rolling. And of course, we have today's session where we're going to talk about what we need to become better, stronger, and more successful at building a sales team. So if you're a business owner out there, you are at the right place. If you are someone who has to lead, fire, hire salespeople, we're going to get into that discussion today. And it's great to be here with you, as it always is. Let me just make sure we got everything wired correctly. Are you hiring the wrong salespeople and not cutting them before you should? So that's the question on the table today. I'm Coach Manny Nowak, and I help organizations to increase sales by helping them to build sales processes that work strategically, tactically, and accountability-wise. If you want to increase your sales, you need a process to make it happen. Now, I've been doing this effectively for almost 20 years. I love what I do, and if doubling the amount of business that you do is something important to you, then guess what? You're at the right place today. And I do apologize. I think we had some blankouts last week where the connection was giving us a hard time. Apologize for those fuzzy parts, but we hopefully got the lineup working right today. The question of the day: how good are you at hiring the right people to sell? And I know many of you out there actually do your own sales, but as you continue to grow, and if major growth is part of what you want, you're going to have to get good at this. And it's good to have you all aboard. A couple shout outs. I see Ron out there. I see Bill out there. I see Karen out there. It's great to have you all on the show. We ask that you share this live session with some of your network so we can get some more people on the process and get rolling. So again, the topic, if you're joining us a few minutes late here, we're actually been on time again, right? Last week we did the session on Thursday, and just to update you, the snow was incredible. I had a hard time not going to the mountains today, but you know, we have to get our work done too. So it was an incredible day of skiing last week. So again, the question for review: are you hiring the wrong salespeople and not cutting them before you should? So we're going to run you through 3 questions today and see if we can help you in this process and help you to get better and better at everything you do out there. And of course, we're excited, right? And we know you are too. So first thing we're going to talk about when hiring a salespeople is one of the probably really sensitive areas that people are always telling me about, and that is really testing. And I have to ask you, do you test your reps before you hire them? And I fully understand, and I'm talking more on the personality test side, as well as we'll give you some more here. Hold on. No one wants to be tested. And few are like to tell prospective employees that they got to take a test. But you know what? Today it's becoming more and more common in a lot of jobs, and sales just happens to be one of them. If you're going to sales to a bigger organization, they're going to give you some testing anyway. So, and I can tell you this. This is a great story from one of my clients who actually shared some great testing tools with me. And you know, what he told me was, I have this great salesperson, and I really am ready to hire this person. But you know what? I'm going to not go around the process I built, and I'm going to test this person. Even though I'd like to offer the job to this person tomorrow. That's what he said. And so he ran the testing, and then the tester came back and told him the story, and he didn't hire the person because it wouldn't have worked. And his comment to me was, I am so glad that I followed this process. And this, like many of you entrepreneurs out there who are very, I do things my way, and I've been here for, almost 30 years myself. I know how you feel. So, but saves you tens of thousands of dollars. That's the key that I want you to focus in on. How much does it cost you when you hire somebody for sales and it doesn't work out? And it takes months and months, and you're paying this person a draw, or you may be paying them a salary. You could lose tens of thousands of dollars. A bad hire can cost you a lot. And I encourage you to look at, what does it really cost me when I do a bad hire? So let's test those sales reps, and especially test them if you like them and you really want to hire them and you're ready to go. Test them anyway. And if you need a company that can help you in that area, just get a hold of me and I will hook you up with some people that can help you in that area. Now, the second part that I want to encourage from a testing standpoint goes on the testing on some job stuff. And really, I don't know any sales reps who don't have to make calls. I know we all discourage making cold calls and all that today, but I'm going to tell you, making calls is part of your job as a salesperson. And if you can't do that very well, then you have a problem. So if I have to hire you to make calls, I guess I should test you, shouldn't I? So many business owners are afraid to take a prospective sales rep and say, listen, before I hire you, here's a list of 20 people. Here's a script. Take a few minutes, get comfortable with it, and just try these calls for me. I just want to hear how you interact and how you work. I'm going to take about an hour to do that. And if that person clearly says, I'm not doing that, I don't do that, I'm a professional, then I would tell you, move on, because you need to test people. And this is one of the biggest downfalls that I've learned helping people build sales process. Salespeople who can't get on the phone, and they aren't doing the calls, and the phone is the most important piece out there. Now, sometimes we'll use external forces. I just was working with one of my clients, and we hired somebody to do calls for us. And they were actually somebody in Singapore who speaks excellent English. And this person just loves on the phone. And they're good. And that's what they do. And they just bang the phone. Now, as a sales rep, I don't really want to do that. But as a caller, I do. But every sales rep needs to know how to do it and do it when they have to. If you can't pick up that phone, you need to find some other way to make a living. All right, so testing, number one. Number two, expectations. What are your expectations of this person? And what are their expectations of you? This is where it falls apart. And one of the reasons it falls apart is because we as entrepreneurs out there, we love our company, we love what we do, and what happens is we try to hire a salesperson, and all we're doing is saying, hey, you got to come to work here. This is the greatest place. You're going to love it here. And we don't take time to say, and not just say, but clearly define. I'm going to tell you that what I recommend is that you sit down and you say, write out, these are my expectations of you as a salesperson. And what I'm going to do is we're going to go through these. Then we're going to go through your expectations. And then we're going to write all that down. I'm going to get somebody to type it up real pretty. We're going to review it, and both of us are going to sign it before we have a deal. Now, wow, wouldn't that be clear? I mean, think about it. You're going to tell sales rep, I expect you as a salesperson to be able within 6 months to be hitting this much volume a month. I expect you to be in the office every Monday morning for a sales meeting. I expect you to connect with this many people a week. I expect you to have this many appointments, verifiable appointments. I expect you to do this many proposals. And if you lay that out, the sales rep can say, I'm either going to do this or I'm not. And if not, they're not going to come to work for you. Now, on the second hand, then they may come back to you and they say, I'm going to expect you to give me at least 10 leads a week. I'm going to expect you to supply me with my own phone and an expense account. And I'm going to expect you to be able to go on a call with me as long as I give you 24 hours notice. Again, wow. Now, what have we done? We've put both sides together, haven't we? We know exactly what each person expects. We document it. Now, when it comes time and you do a review and you sit down with your sales rep and you say, this is what I expected you to do. This is what you did. You know what? You're way off target. We got to let you go. No, it's never easy to fire people. Don't get me wrong there. But this way, everyone clearly understands. What do you think about that? I hate gray. You know, I hate gray. It's either this way or it's that way. That's just the way I'm taught. That's just the way I operate. And when we start getting in sales, when we start getting into those gray areas, our sales start dropping. And we don't want that. So that's point number 2. What do you think? I mean, if you have any feedback, please give it to me. Otherwise, we'll move on to point number 3. As you know, we only like to keep these about 15 or 20 minutes, so I hope I'm not talking too much today. But 2 clear points: testing and then once you've tested them, then you need to make sure your expectations are on target. Now, the third point, when it makes us a little itchy, makes us a little nervous, makes us a little hesitant, right, is don't hesitate on termination for those who do not meet your expectations. No one wants to fire anyone, especially in a small company, right? I mean, this is what makes it hard. If you're a small organization, everybody is like family. And everybody, you know, and a lot of sales reps may not be able to sell that well, but they sure are great people and really with great personality. They add a lot of flair to most environments, and it's a hard line when you got to fire them. But you got to be careful. Remember that line out there, right? You don't want the sales rep to hire. The last sale they made was selling me on working here. All right, let's make sure we don't get there, as so many people do. Again, nobody wants to fire anybody, but if you hired someone to run your cash register, if your retail environment, and they just couldn't get how to operate that cash register, what would happen? You let them go. If you're in the plumbing business and you hire somebody to be a plumber and you find out they can't solder 2 pipes together, they can't make things work here, what are you going to do? You're going to fire them. If you're an accounting firm and you hire somebody and they can't help clients balance their books and they can't help them and they don't know how to record transactions, what are you going to do? You're going to fire them, right? And all those are clear pictures. I give you 10 more stories that relate to that. If you're an auto mechanic, you hire a mechanic and they can't fix a car, are you going to keep them? Why is it then, when it comes to sales reps, and it is just as black and white, if you set the expectations up front? That's why I spent all that time on expectation. It is black and white. You either can bring in some business or you can't. Now, what you can't do, and this is very important, what you can't do is not set any expectations and then go back to the rep and you say, you've been here a week now, and I thought you'd bring in at least 4 deals by now. And the rep says, what? You need to understand up front. But if you understand up front that this is what I expect, where I expect you to be in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 100 days, do you agree with that before we start? If you don't, you don't have to take the job. But if you want the job, you got to hit these numbers. If you don't hit these numbers, then we're done. And if you do that, wow, it's really easy, isn't it? They either do it or they don't. Just like the cash register example, the plumber, the accountant, sales reps, you either make it or you didn't. You either meet the goals or you don't. I know so many of you out there are losing sleep. You get distracted. Your productivity goes down. You're just miserable because you got this sales rep and they're not performing and you're not firing them. And I go into places and work with some people like this, and I see it. Or I see it when I talk to somebody at a networking event. Look, here's the expectations. Bam. I tested them up front, which took away. I'm going to tell you, I truly believe that you have increased your chances of success 100%. Now, number 2 is, once I've done that, I've laid out the expectations. Again, 100% increase over where we started, because now everybody has a clear picture. Now, don't get me wrong. Do some people lie? Yeah, some people lie. They'll say, oh, yeah, I understand all those expectations, and they have no intentions of meeting them, and then you have to deal with that. I understand that. But make sure also that the expectations are real, because I know as business owners, sometimes we have this unrealistic impression of what a salesperson can do. So that's why I work with clients, because I can give you a better feel for, that's really out of line expectation. So get that feedback. Wow. And then, of course, if they're not working, then you have to do what you have to do. And if they're working, that's even better. Then let's reward them. And let's give them even more than maybe we said initially, because, wow, when you have a good salesperson, it can rocket your business just tremendously. All right, let me take a moment here and talk about the Entrepreneur Toolbox, the place where you get this stuff that we're talking about today. And you get a whole lot more. We just finished a session at 11 o'clock Eastern time this morning with our group, and we've now have 4 sessions in on 90 Days to Success, which is a new product that'll be coming out later this year. And of course, if you're in that group, you already have it, you're already working with it, and so you're way ahead. So right now it's still $29 a month to get in that group, and we try to do at least 2 to 4 live training sessions, and of course you get just about everything we put out for free because you're a member of that group. Plus you can ask questions, you get some time with me to review stuff, which is always a plus. I think it is anyway. Some one-on-one time with the coach. You get email contact. You get to interface with the other members of the group. If you are a business owner out there, and we've now talked with, we did an overview. This was second of the big issues that you deal with all the time, this is the place to be, the Entrepreneur Toolbox. So just go to CoachManny.com. You'll see one of the options there, the Entrepreneur Toolbox. Get on there, sign up for $29. We haven't pushed it up to $49 yet, although we're thinking about doing that shortly. But for $29, and yours is never going to go up. Once you lock in at $29, you're locked in. Wow. It's been another great show, hasn't it? I hope you're enjoying this show. I want to thank you all for being with us today. And remember, if you missed the show, it's always available on Facebook. We flip the audio into a podcast. We put the video out on YouTube. So if you missed it or you don't remember what was here and you'd like to go through it again, all those platforms are out there. And every week our blog is out there, which kind of gives you a write-up. But, wow, I'm going to be back next week. I hope I can get some of you on that Entrepreneur Toolbox because we're starting to grow and we really need business owners out there to make that group even stronger. I hope what I taught you today is going to help you in building your business. I thank you all for being here today. It's been my pleasure, as always. And we'll see you next Friday on the Entrepreneur Toolbox.